Okay, let's begin with a warm greeting to all. In just 15 minutes of attentive listening, we can absorb a wealth of knowledge that's not only enriches our communication skills, but also reduce our hesitation, while simultaneously preparing us for interview. So let's just start the meeting. All right, let's begin our presentation. Now I will pass it over to my friend Shreyas to continue.
Rudransh, please give me just 1 minute. There's a problem in that presentation. I'll resolve that.
Okay, okay. So yes, I think it take much time.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So yes, you will start, I will start the presentation of mine.
Just give me 1 minute, please.
Okay, okay.
Rudransh, is my screen visible?
So yes, there is a echo.
Just wait a minute. No, is it there?
Yes, yes, you can continue.
Okay, thank you. So my topic for today's presentation is Google Cloud. So many of you might have heard about this about Google Cloud, as it is a very common platform which is available online, and it is made by Google itself. So let's find what exactly Google Cloud is. So Google Cloud is actually a
So yes,
collection of virtual resources.
you can full screen. Click
Okay,
in
just wait a
on
minute.
full screen.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
Okay, so I was there in that what is actually a Google Cloud. So Google Cloud is a collection of virtual resources and of physical assets such as hard disk and components located in data entities around the world. So what exactly this means? So Google Cloud is basically like a database which actually holds the resources of an individual person. It can be a person or an organization depending upon the needs. Google Cloud is a public cloud vendor that offers a suite of computing services, including computing and hosting, storages, database, networking, big data, and machine learning. So Google actually has a very big database. As we all know that it is a very popular company. So Google developed Google Cloud Platform so that ordinary people like we students generally we create websites and we want it to host and so that it may reach to other people around not only in our country but around the globe. So Google Cloud is just like is the similar platform which provides a path for hosting our websites, storing the database of our particular websites or whatever the resource we want to store. So now moving on to the next slide. Now there will be a question that who actually invented Google Cloud? So the discovery of Google Cloud started in the year 1960 by J.C. Linkleader. He was a person who actually invented Google Cloud Computing. It was not actually Google Cloud, it was cloud computing. The cloud computing term was used in 1960, and Google worked on that particular topic of cloud computing. And in 2008, Google launched its cloud service, which later on turned into Google Cloud Services, which I in the beginning of the presentation I told you about that it is a database that is used to store information. So as I've written in the second point that Google launched its cloud services in 2008 with a previous release of App Engine, a developer tools that allows user to run their web applications on Google infrastructure. The service became generally available in November 2011. So Google actually launched Google Cloud Service in 2008, but it was not publicly revealed. It was made public in the year 2011 after several testings, which helped Google to rectify the issues that were coming from the developed platform that was the Google Cloud. So Thomas Curran, this is a famous quote, and it's not a famous quote. It's actually the current chief of Google Cloud is Thomas Curran. He's an Indian American business executive head, and he's been holding that position of Google Cloud executive since 2019. And he's been doing a really great job over there. And he's working really hard to make Google Cloud Platform much better for not only for the users but also for organizations and companies that uses it for storing their database. Now, in this presentation, I have mentioned about some services which Google Cloud is providing. And in the upcoming PPTs, that is the presentation which we'll have in the next week, I'll be explaining about all these topics. So in this presentation, I have only given the headings of all the services which Google Cloud is providing. So the first service is Google App Engine. The second one is Compute Engine. The third is Cloud Data Store. The fourth one is Cloud Storage. Fifth is BigQuery, and the sixth and the last one is Cloud SQL. So there are much more services which Google Cloud is currently providing, but these are the most useful services which Google Cloud actually provides, and these services are being used not only by users but also by very big various organizations to store, not only store their database but also for hosting and other works. So GCP is Google Cloud Platform. So where exactly Google Cloud Platform is used? So these are the points. Google Cloud Platform is used for web hosting, as it includes virtual machines, containers, and loader balances. Retailers use Google Cloud Platform to power their e-commerce platform, personalized the shopping experience, and gain insights from customers' data. So I'll want to explain this second point, that is the retailers. So retailers, just like we all might have used Google Sheets. So in that Google Sheets, we manually type the required data. Like suppose I am buying something from a particular shop, and then the person has two options: either to type it manually or to use services of Google Clouds. So basically, Google's cloud services provides a formula to for retailers to store their required data in the form of mathematical calculations, and in a easy manner, so that it is not difficult for the retailers as well as for the customer. The third one is storage facilities. So Google Cloud Platform provides, as I mentioned in the beginning, that it is a database. So it provides a storage platform for storing personal data of an individual, organization, or whatever the thing it is. The third one is networking. So about networking, I'll be discussing it in the next week, because as in the earlier I explained that in the upcoming PPT, I'll be explaining all the topics like cloud SQL, cloud data storage, etc. So in that I'll be explaining the network working as well. But over here, I'll just read out what the statement which I have provided in this particular presentation. That is, Google Cloud Platforms offers services such as internal networks, VPN connections, and cloud interconnect, which provides low latency, high availability connection that enables you to reliable transfer data between your Google Cloud's virtual private cloud VPC networks and other networks. Now, there's a question that will be coming in our mind, and that is Google Cloud literally free for to use? So let me tell you that Google Cloud is actually not a free version; it's a paid version. But there are certain tricks which we can use to get the free access of Google Cloud services. So one such um, trick which I'll be telling you is not any unauthorized trick. It's There is a platform named as Google Arcade that is being organized by. It is basically a competition that is being organized by Google every year, and it is just like a 6 month challenge where for 6 months you have to solve a certain Google Cloud services problems that Google will be providing to you. And on the basis of that, Google will be providing certain credits to the user. And using those credits, we can use the Google Cloud services for free. Otherwise, if we want to access without applying that trick, then there is a certain amount that is about $300 that we have to pay to Google for accessing the Google Cloud facilities. So now there is a question that which is better? Now there are two services which are being used, that is AWS services and Google Cloud services. So let me tell you that AWS services are much faster as compared to Google Cloud. But in terms of the necessary services requirements for businesses, etc., Google Cloud is a better option because it provides more features like storing data, web hosting, retailing services, networking, and there are certain limitations in AWS which makes Google Cloud much better than AWS. Although AWS is faster than Google Cloud, so depending upon the need, the user can select whatever services he or she may use or has to require. Now, in we are moving towards the end of the of my PPT. So here I have mentioned 5 interview questions that are most commonly being asked in interviews. So the first question is that we have that is being asked is to describe the Google Cloud Platform and its role as a high level. So I have mentioned the answer as well in this presentation. I'll just read out. Google Cloud Platform is a collection of cloud computing services by Google. It covers all major areas such as computing, storage, machine learning, and data analytics. The importance of GCP lies in the fact that it provides businesses with flexible, scalable, and cost effective solutions, enabling them to take advantage of Google powerful technology infrastructure. This in turn allows business to focus on their main concepts, leaving the technical complexities to Google. So, Google Cloud basically controls all the work that a user wants it to handle. Because we all humans want someone else to do our work. So, Google Cloud Platform does that job effectively for a person and an organization. Now, the second question that is most frequently asked is to explain the difference between cloud storage and cloud SQL. So, in this presentation, I haven't discussed about cloud storage and cloud SQL. I'll be discussing it in the next PPT next week. But I have mentioned the answer. If anybody wants to see whatever the answer is, he or she can refer to the answer which I have mentioned. The third one is Google Cloud Pub and Sub. So pub and sub here means pub means publication and sub means subscription. So these topics comes under BigQuery that were the services that Google Cloud platform was providing. So I'll be discussing it as well in the next presentation next week. But till then, I'll read out the whatever the description I have given. Google Cloud PubSub is a messaging services created for sending and receiving messages between independent application. It works on the principle of publisher subscriber model. Publisher creates and sends message to topics. Subscriber then receives those messages through a subscription of those topics. So to understand pub and sub easily, we can take the example of Google. So suppose if I want to see a particular video that is being published by a user. So there are two options. The publisher has to first publish the video which I want to listen. I want to see. Secondly, after watching the video, if I like that particular channel or video, then I'll be going for the subscription offer. Similarly, Google Cloud provides a message services using pub and sub, where a publisher is a person who actually sends the message, and subscription is the person who will be receiving the message, and on the basis of that, he or she will be taking or accepting those message. So Google Cloud basically provides us safety features of which enables it for safe data storage. Now, the fourth question is Google Kubernetes Engine. So this is a topic that comes under Google Cloud Storage. So you may read this description which I have provided, because I'll be discussing about this in the upcoming presentation, because it is a very vast topic that I have to explain in detail, and it won't be possible to discuss in one presentation. So decided that all the services I'll be explaining in the next presentation. And the last question, and the fifth and the last question, would be Google Cloud data flow and its benefits. So we all might have heard about pipelining in COA. So basically, a pipelining, we studied that recently. And what exactly pipelining means? So pipelining was a concept in which we were arranging the hardware components of CPU in such a way that overall performance of the system and the CPU system was increasing. Similarly, Google Cloud Data Flow arranges the data in such a format that the overall performance, that is the real-time access, fetching, and executing time of the data is increased. And it provides various benefits like automatic resource management, dynamic work rebalancing, and creating pipeline using Java, Python, SDKs. So these are the important benefits which we can get from Google Cloud Data Flow. So, and the next one is Google Cloud IAM. So IAM here means identity and access management. So IAM, just like it provides and stores the identity of an individual, data, or whatever the thing or resources which a person or organization is storing on the in the Google Cloud service. It only allows the authenticated person to access the data, thus blocking an unauthorized person to for gaining the access, which provides a security feature to database of an individual, which is very important as Google Cloud. As we all know that now that cyber security is one of the important topic, and it is very trendy also. So Google Cloud is providing this, which is very useful, and thus we can use Google Cloud for hosting our websites, etc. So, well, thank you. This was all from my PPT. If you have any question, then you can ask me.
Okay, just a quick heads up. Our meeting will automatically end after 40 minutes. So there is a time of 9 minutes remaining. But don't worry, we will simply create a new meeting and you can access it using the same link before. Okay. So anyone have to ask the question from Suez? Okay, I think I should start my presentation. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible.
So let's start my presentation with Git and GitHub. I summarized the previous presentation of mine that Git, what is Git and what is GitHub. So Git is basically a distributed version control. Many times this question asks, what is this version control system? When we have to store a file for a single time, when we try to modify it many times, then every modification has a version. When we try to do it in text file, then we can't see the versions of the file. We can't see the modification. We only see the final file. But in the Git, we have seen the many level versions. Okay, that's the Git And GitHub is basically a repository hosting system by which we can host the websites, a remote sensing, what we call that remote access. When we try, then when a same time there are 5% to modify a file, and we get the final file through GitHub. We move on next slide. There is a problem. Okay. So my screen is visual.
Yes, it is visible.
So Git can track changes in files in any folder called repository. Like I previously mentioned, Git has a version control system. So that point clarifies that point. Git has its own file structure, like JSON. Git has its own database where we can store our files. Git has its own file structure where we can store audio files, video files, but the format which the Git is the format which Git stores the files is different from all. Like JSON, they stores key value pairs, but in Git we mainly use the hash of the file. Like every file have different distinct elements, so that distinct element create a different hash, and that hash will be stored as a key of Git in database. Okay, the third point is every file is stored in a separate document and has unique hash. Like I previously mentioned, my point, Git has the when we open a file that has every file has distinct elements, so it creates its own hash that is unique from all, and that hash will be used as a key for storing that content. Git is simply persistent hash map that stores key value pairs. So hash map, that Git is simply persistent hash map. That clarifies the third point. Key is hash of the hash of the file, and value is the content of the file. Like I previously mentioned, that point is also Git stores all changes locally. So I summarized the previous slide that firstly, like when we create a text file, that in that text file there are everyone has distinct element. Everyone, when I create my text file, I have to write something else from other. So that content what I write in the file, that content basically changes its hash value, and that hash value is stored in a Git database. So when we try to get after some time, when I try to get my file, my text file, then I will go database and encrypt that file. Then I will see uh, what content I previously store in that file. That method is using git cat file method. That cat file that shows quantification of the file. So in the next, Git stores all changes locally. Git stores all changes locally. Like we don't have to use internet to store the file in Git. Okay, Git could be used locally without internet, and locally you will have full access to file change history. Like we don't require any other server or network to change or store the files in Git. You may use GitHub just as a backup for your local Git repository. That is the main use of GitHub. Like when we like I will store my text file in Git, but by unwanted circumstances the file is deleted. We can't back up our file, but when we store that file in GitHub, that is that is play a role as backup. When we delete when by circumstances that file is deleted in our system, we can restore it using GitHub. GitHub is used primarily for distributed teams that work on the same project. Like our team, we work on the same project. So I mentioned it, GitHub is compulsory for all. Git is just a special file system. Like previous slide, I mentioned it. In second point, Git has its own file structure. That clarifies Git is a just special file system. Like any file, Git can store. Git has many features like website hosting and GitHub has many features like website hosting, etc. So that these are the shell commands. Firstly, I will brief the shell commands, then I will show how they implement on real world, on real folders. Okay. So these I previously when I done my previous presentation, I will explain these commands. mkdir, that is make directory command, that makes a folder. ls command is basically list the folders available in that repository, that root directory. cd is change directory. When we have to when we have to, what we can say, when we have to work in a particular folder, then we have used the cd command to access all the elements of the folder. So, so I will continue from my next meeting because the time is over. Okay, you should join using the previous link. So my screen is visible or not?
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay. So we are on the third command, that is tab. When we write some short command and we use the tab over there, then that command is autocomplete. That is the use of tab command. Echo is basically a used to print some content in like in git bash shell or in some text file. Man is command for actually MacBooks, but we will use double dash help command in the place of man. We can use this help to get what's the meaning of particular commands like nano dash dash help. We'll get to know what is nano done. That in the next slide, that is touch command will create a new file. Angular greater than symbol is right to the file, and double greater than is append to the file. Cat is the quantification of the file. Rm is used to remove the text file, but rm slash rf is used to remove the folder from the file. How many types of git objects that stores on particular database? That is four types of objects: blob, tree, commit, and annotated text. Blob is basically stores video files, audio files, basically because these video and audio files are converted into zero and ones form, and then we will make the hash of it, that I will explain in later slides. That hash will you use as a key value pair and stores it. Tree is basically a combination of blob and trees. Like trees are used as term as a folder, because in a folder we have many text files, or in a folder we have another folder. So tree is the combination of tree or blob or both. Commit is basically used to get the version control. Annotated text is the text pointer of commit. In the next, how git object, how any file will store in a git, that uses, that's under the hood, how git is work. So git object has stored in database using the four content, object type, object length, and hash. So how hash will generate content? What is the description of that file? What is the content inside that file? Plus object type, how which type of object, it is a text, it is a audio, what is the length of the object, that will combine and make a hash. So git low level commands like git hash object, it will create the hash. Git cat file, it will check the quantification. Git mk tree will check the will actually make a tree. Git hash object will create how git hash object Actually, git hash object is basically gives a hash of the text file or any other files. But git hash object will also use to make blobs object. Git mk tree also use as tree. How to make tree? Create new repository. Like when we open a folder, there is a no git file especially, but git, when we use git init command, git repository will created in that file, and that will special indication of master. Git repository will be initially empty if directory where you initialize git is not empty, and contains and other git other directories. Okay, so like I previously mentioned, JSON JavaScript object notation has a different type of setup that will store a key value pair. In JavaScript object notation, we know that the key is not same. Like hash map, we know that key is not same. Okay, but in the GitHub, we don't have same the hash the value in key, it difference, but we like in JSON we don't have the same keys, but in GitHub we don't have the same value. And how it will generate, how it will create, I will later explain. Like echo hello git commands, then it will print hello git, but when we use echo slash n hello git, that will like printf will eliminate the last hello git, like echo hello git. When we try to print another through hello git, through echo, then it will go to the next line, but when we use echo slash n, it doesn't go next line, so it is a removal of next line command. Git cat file, I previously explained that, like I will explain. Like any text file, we have to write some of the text in that file. Okay. That file generates a hash. That hash is stored in a Git database. We have to know what is the content of that hash. Then we have to use git cat files command. Okay, it will decrypt that database stored hash value. Git cat file slash p hash will gives the content of the object. Git cat file slash s hash size of the object. Git cat file slash t type of the object. Like git s, s will normally give the size of the object. As we know, there are many types of object like blob and tree. We can't differentiate between blob and tree until we use the second command, until we use the third command, git cat file slash t hash. We can't differentiate what is which is the hash of the blob or which is the hash of the tree, because it is similar, more or less similar. How, according to the specification of JSON, should be unique, and it is technically possible to create same hash but not recommended. Okay, so how hash will generate any variable length input? Hash will generate a fixed length hash. Okay, like we have a 400 characters, but it will generate only some hash digits, a fixed length hash, not exceeds. We have many hashing functions like md5, sha1, sha256, sha384, sha512. So as md5 is generate 128 bit fixed hash, and sha1 is 160 bits. SHA256, like 256, we have 256 bit, 384, 384 bit, 512 and 512 bits. SHA1 generates 160 bits. Like we have 400 characters, it will generate a unique combination of 160 bits. That when we are trying to decrypt that file, or we are get that file, and we have to check that the previous stored file is same or not. Then we compare not by character to character, we compare it by just single hash. Like I previously explained, what is the tree? Tree is the combination of blob, two blobs, or blobs and trees. How many different files could be stored in a single Git repository? That is the question for all. And you all have to answer in the next presentation. How many different files should be stored in a single Git repository? I will give a hint. Like we have a 160 bit, then how many different combinations of 160 bit is formed? That is that will tell you what's the answer of this question. Like hello git command, hello git, I previously explained. Hello git is shosam. Shosam is basically git is used SHA-1 mechanism for generating hash. So Shosam will give the SHA-1 hash of this hello git. I will, and slash n will there show that what is the slash n will do. Slash n will remove that slash n will remove the next line. Okay, like hello git, we normally write echo hello git. When we enter, then we go in the next line. So that has is different from the when we go not to the different line. Both has's are different. So what is commit? Commit is basically a group of trees and blobs. Like I previously explained, that is a version control. Basically, it works on a function of, I will not say directly, but is similar to Merkle drag. Merkle tree is used in a blockchains, but Merkle drag in used in Git repository. Git blobs doesn't have file names. Folder name plus file name has, I previously explained in my previous presentation. Next file was created only in the Git repository. Git object dot our project is first. Okay. So there is a method, another method for creating a blob, that is git has object file name slash w. Actually, object I you may know by your observation that git always stores its hash value as key. So we the git don't care about the file name. It doesn't care. If you have a different file, then its hash is different and it will store in another file, another key value pair. So here is the end of my presentation. Actually, presentation, we can't say direct presentation, but it is the end of my uh, basically PPT explaining part. I will go to the terminal and make it a PowerShell, open it PowerShell. Okay, let's just give a 1 minute. So my git bash shell is visible or not? Both presentation and git bash shell is visible or not?
It is visible.
Okay, I will use and the commands, so that so basically this is an implementation part. I will use also a Hindi language. So mkdir will create a folder. Okay. Uh, Basically, first we will go to the pwd command. It will shows what is the path we are where we are working. Okay, that will show when we get to know in which folder we are currently working. That will show with the help of pwd command. How what is done with the pwd command? We use the help that this is the explanation of what is pwd command used in git bash shell. Okay, in the second command we use ls files. Firstly, okay, ls, it will show all my folders, my files. When we try to get it in a table form, then we get by using this command ls.l. When we then it is we get to know all the file names and what is the size of the files. In the third command we have ls/la. It will shows the hidden files. Okay, that slash ls/la will shows. The third is dot alias, alias of the current directory, in which directory I will working. Okay, cd dash command is shows only that. So in when we are using macbook, then it will shows the file. In the windows it will not work. Okay, cd dot dash, it will not go in that part. We will create firstly a mk make directory command, mkdir new folder five. No, it's folder 6. So it will create a file. When we try to work on a new folder 6, when we try to make a text file in new folder 6, we go to cd commands and new folder 6. It will go on a new folder 6 and it will working. Like this time I will use cd double dash command. It will go on the previous parent directory. That is the use of dot two dots. Okay. The third command is nano command. Nano command is basically used to edit the text files or to write using normally. Like I will use nano. I will not create any text file. Firstly, I will go into the directory new folder. Like we use a arrow button. So we go in new folder 6, nano, new dot text, new text dot txt. So it will open a UI, basically a GUI. So I wanted to write hello world, and we wanted to save it like y and enter. Then we don't create any file using touch command, but nano will generate automatically a text file and write it using the help of this command line. So we try to know what is written in new text file. So we use the command of cat new text dot txt. It will show hello world like I previously add in using nano commands. Let clear. I when we done clear command, that will clear whole terminal. Echo. What is echo? Echo is basically echo is basically using a printf function. Like echo, we previously explained echo slash and commands hello world. Okay, it will remove the next line. Okay, the third command is help. We use a slash help command in the place of man command, because man is used in macbooks. Like we get to know what is echo done. Okay, and we use that this command. Okay, it will, I think it take 1 minute. Hello world less help. Okay, it can't give the echo command because basically echo is the simple command for command line. Okay, the third portion is touch. Like we get touch new.txt. Okay, new 2.txt text.txt. It will create a new text file in new folder 6? We get to know by using ls/la command. Here is a simply mention new 2.txt and new text is created using nano command. Slash arrow is like we use echo command, echo, and we have to write is hello world in new 2.txt. We use new 2 text.txt. Okay, we get to know we wanted to know the quantitation of this file. Then we use cat file, cat new to text.txt that shows hello world. Like I mentioned hello world there. We wanted to append that file, like we wanted to add some another text after the hello world. We use uh, double arrow, like previously echo hello world, and we change that only hello. Okay, we use double commands. We enter and then we check the what is the quantitation of this file. uh, mm, okay, new txt that shows hello world and hello. That is use of append. Cat I previously explained. Rm is the removal function, like we want to remove that new. Firstly I will mention ls/l. Okay, this shows new to text.txt and new text.txt. I will use rm command new to text. Okay, txt. It will shows nothing. And when we use ls/la command, it doesn't show new to txt file because it will remove. And we wanted to remove and all delete all the things we done in new folder 6. We use the command that rm/rf and new folder 6. Okay, then we go and cd dot and ls/la. Okay, okay, rm/rf slash ls/la. Okay, it doesn't show new folder 6. Basically when we are in the new folder 6, we can't change. When we are working on that folder, we can't delete it. We go on parent repository, then we use rm/rf command to delete all this. And when then we go on the git has objects commands. Firstly I will explain git init command. Git init. Firstly, I will make a directory mkdir. Mkdir new folder 6. Okay, and that's mkdir. Okay, new folder 7. Okay, it will create a new folder. So we go cd new folder 7. And we are in the new folder 7. We use git init command. Git init. Then it shows master. Basically, is a master block, master chain. And we go on the next. That is git cat file. Okay, git cat file I will explain. So we wanted to generate a hash, and there is a new thing from my previous presentation. Basically today I will revise all the content what I will explain in the previous presentation, but there is a new part. Basically, this command, okay, I will show it by reducing the size of this. It will show hash object command as the standard input. Like we have to store in a Git. Firstly, we have to go in a Git, na Git init, or we can't go. The Git is all. The Git is store that file in a Git database. When we write this command, standard put /w, like this hash value is same as its previous hash value, but when we use /w, it will store on a Git database. We wanted to check it by using Git. Firstly, we'll go to the cd dot. When we have to when we have to go in Git, we use cd dot git. We change the directory and we go in Git directory. We have used git/la. That will source, actually, wait a second, ls/la. It will source head configuration description hooks information object in that objects folder. That blob tree commit and annotated text will store. And what we previously done, that is also stored in the objects. Like I will explain later on how that will store the file. Okay, then we go. Then we wanted to know what is, we copy firstly the hash of the previous one. Okay, that is basically a key value. I think his controls is not working there. Copy. Okay. And we wanted to know the quantitation of this file. We use git cat file. We can't mention any file name because file name is doesn't matter in GitHub/p. We paste the hash. It shows because it doesn't directly work in Windows. Like it shows git cat file/p will basically show the content of the file, that is hello world. And we use okay, we simply, okay, we changes simply p to s, it will shows the size, and we simply use t to type of the, that it stores as a blob. Okay, in the next we have explained later on, and I think my time is over. So I will explain in the next presentation. I will summarize all of the things. Firstly, we can't go like in this presentation. I will go first presentation, then implementation. In the next presentation of mine, I will explain first implementation part. Then we get to know and revise all the concepts through presentation. So I will take some time, firstly presentation, and then we done using presentation part. Firstly presentation, implementation, and then presentation. So I'll end my presentation here. Anyone have any questions, then feel free to ask. Okay, I think my presentation is done, and you don't have any question, guys. So I will take over it to Abhay to continue its presentation. Abhay, you will continue your
Yeah,
presentation.
I can start. So if I can start sharing my screen, I think for that you need to stop sharing. Okay. My screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, you can start.
Okay, so I am starting today with the JavaScript topic because I am doing in the front end portion. So I have picked a topic that is JavaScript. I would be going through right from scratch. So let's start with today's topic that is JavaScript. So today we will try to deep down dive into the history of the JavaScript, why this language was invented, what was the purpose of using this language, and there are so many other languages. Why do even we need this JavaScript? We'll talk about that. We'll also look into variables and data types, and then we will wrap our presentation with operators. So let's. So before I begin, let me tell you a short story that is going to be little bit of interesting for the prospect of the JavaScript. Like in late 1990s, at that point in time, internet was the new thing. Internet was similar to that of the blockchain nowadays. Not many people were aware about what is internet, what is the power of internet. But today, if we compare with the blockchain, not many people are aware about what is blockchain and how it can be impactful in the coming future. So at that point in time, internet was of that level. So initially, people found that they can build a website using HTML and CSS, and those websites were kind of static in nature. They were not very dynamic. They were static in nature. Everybody might have seen them. So that was the thing. They were the website, and the people who used to build those website were called as HTML authors at that point in time. And then what happened, because they have the website, so they need some browser that can load or that can run those website. So there comes the first browser that was in 1993. That was Mosaic. So Mosaic was the first browser that came into the picture. And then there came a flood of various browsers in the market, and they all were present like Netscape, Navigator, and later on so many other browser also came into the market. So the parent company that built the what should the parent company that was building these website, they thought of taking something new, because everybody was having the static website and everybody was running on the browser. They thought of bringing something new so that most of the users will go to their platform. The browser I was talking about, I just forgotten in between, was Netscape Navigator. So there were various other browsers also, and Netscape Navigator was the one that thought that why not we try something new, so that most of the people try to come to our browser. So what they did, they took a man, that picture is coming in front of you, that was Brendan H, and he was doing something related to mathematics. He picked this man and he tried to and he demanded to this man, like, can you create a new language with which we can add some animation, some sort of uh, some sort of attention graving ingredient into our static back pages. So at that point in time, Java was very popular, and he approached to Sun Microsystem, and that was the team behind the Java. So they went to Java team, and they tried to get the basics of the language from them, and Brendan H developed this language within the 10 days. That was little surprising when I uh, when I read it for the first, like within the 10-day entire new language was developed. So that was a little story right behind it. And it was so you can see on your screen, like it was developed, it was created by Brendan H in just a 10 days span of time in May 1995. And the core motive of creating or developing this language was to create the user interactivity, was to gain more and more attention of the people towards their particular browser itself. So that was the core reason of developing this language, and it was developed within 10 days. Now, I have summarized the entire story in this page. If anybody is interested, they can read it out. I will talk about two, three things. Like initially, the developers were trying to think of the name for this language, and the first name that they thought of giving to this language was Mocha. And then at the point of release, they thought, why not we name it a live script? But at the end, they decided to make it further popularize into the market. They give a name Java because Java was very popular at that point in time. So they gave the name JavaScript. It was for the point of view of the marketing, and also because they were approaching Java for developing a new sort of language. So that was also one of the reasons. And now let me come to the new things. Like let's talk about the features of the JavaScript. So JavaScript is, as I said, the primary motive for creating JavaScript was to engage users. So there are various features that are meant to make web pages more interactive to the user. The first one is object-oriented script language. Then to read out all, we have handling events, like various events that user can do on the screen will be handled or can be manipulated by the help of the JavaScript. Statement looping, lightweight and delicate, then case sensitive format, ability to perform. And there is one more point that I'd like to say. Like before 2008, JavaScript was interpreted one by one. Like every line will be interpreted one by one. And with the invention of, with the coming of the Chrome in the market in 2008, Chrome came up with a V8 engine that would run the JavaScript. In the V8 engine, there was a just-in-time compiler that will compile all the JavaScript code at once. So that was the feature. So that is why it is having a feature of interpreted language. And then also if else, like
Actually,
normal
meeting
thing
is
and
over.
validation of the
Left 1 minute only. So I will create new meeting and forward the link in the group. So all of us can join. Okay. I will end this meeting.
Okay, so I will continue in the next meeting.
So, so is my screen is visible?
Yes, it is. But
Okay.
try to done it by your laptop only.
Actually, there was a problem with the laptop, so I'm continuing with this.
Okay.
Actually, at my last presentation, I explained to you about the API, our application programming interfaces. So in that presentation, I had concluded about its introductory part. I explained you about the introductory part. I gave the introduction. After introduction, I gave the full form of I explained you one acronym that was known as create, update, and that was and etc. So in this presentation, part 2 presentation, we had explored an API also in our last presentation, but in this presentation I will be focusing on commands, so command line and other tools, that with the help of those things, how to get the server request and how to fetch the any server request from the user. So, and what are the benefits of using all those things? So continue with my presentation. That is API part 2, obviously. So the first topic is command line. So command line is a thing that, see, everyone knows what is command or a definition of command. So if I'm instructing my laptop to open, if I'm opening my laptop, that is also giving us a certain kind of a command. if I'm opening my laptop with my button, then I want to switch any of the screen or any of the application. So that operating system that is working with my laptop or with my system or with my personal computer uh, is instructed by a command. Until and unless I won't be giving any kind of a command over there, there will be no there will be no actually there will be no I can say process that will be carried out for the further goal. So command, so you can understand the basics of command, or how what is the importance of command in our lives. So so here the command in APIs. So command and APIs are the thing that uh, you can say is a tool. Command line here is has been showed as a tool over here. So while putting that command on the command line, you can proceed, you can fetch the HTTP request. So the tool has been there was a tool has been made for this command line. So in my next slide, I will be explaining you about that tool. So command line gives us the leniency uh, directs our PC or directs our computer to perform different kinds of tasks. Because in APIs, everyone knows what is an API. So that in my last presentation, I explained you about an API. So that is the link between the user and the server and all those things. It links the whole backend and front end codes, or API fetches fetches the server to create a link and to generate the whole and deploy the whole database to to the whole system. So while writing these commands, we can fetch any kinds of responses. We can whatever actions we want to perform, we can perform those actions. So I will be in my further slides, I will be explaining you that what are the certain kinds of commands over there. So curl is a command. Yes, it's a command line tool. See, there's a difference between a tool and a command line tool. So curl, that in my this as in the command line, as I was explaining you about the commands and all those things. So that the example of that command line is curl. The example of the previous slide is curl. See URL. So if I split the word curl, that is been that then it will be represented as C and URL. The C word stands for the client, and the URL, everyone knows, uniform resource locator. So C is for command, and URL is for uniform resource locator. So so that means your client is serving fetching. There's one client, and the one and one that is located to the server, and with the help of which you can give the command. For example, if you want to give any kind of instruction or any kind of command, I will be explaining you or listing those commands even also in the next slides. So for example, there are those commands called commands. For example, there are those called commands. So actually it has been so curl is basically is for the basic use of curl is transferring of data to the servers. This is the basic use of a curl. I'm repeating it again. The curl is for transferring the data to the server. This is the use of curl. This is the use case of a curl. Why we have introduced curl. So even this is not an actual example, but because to make it more obvious to you, or more clear to you, I will be saying that you bring your if you are instructing your PC to moving towards any kind of application, reaching any application, you are pressing your keys, or you are typing something over there. But in the what internal processing is that you have to, for example, if you want to start your PC, you have to you have to press the button. although you have keyboard, with the help of cursor or all those things you can move it here there, but for this, but the basic need of requirement is, or the prerequisite is, you have to you have to click the button, that button, that round button to start a PC. So that basicity or the necessity is equal for launching any command, launching any command line, or any commands for the servers. You have to write curl over there. So this is the practical implementation also. You have to write curl over there, and then you can proceed with any command, and other commands. So this is the benefits of using, or you can, yes, you can say this is a benefit of a curl also. So you can understand how much what is how this curl statement is important to you. So even so there is one curl.sc, the curl library also. You can move towards that library, and there you can see the how much uh, what kind of protocols over there. There are different kinds of protocols and things are there. So I think you have been understood that what is curl, or what curl is used for. So now moving towards my next slide. The next slide says about tools. So what are tools in so tools are basically any in hardware there are tools also. There are drivers, screwdriver. This is also a tool. So tools, what is the use of a tool? Tool is a gadget, it's a kind of a gadget. But if I'm talking about an API, in APIs, tools are, yes, there are gadgets. They are gadgets, but a software gadget. So it is as it is a software performing application on the software interfaces. So the tool over here is so the tool over here is also a gadget, but a automated gadget, or you can say, or I can say it's a software gadget. So automation. So everyone knows what an automation is. It's a kind of a, you can compare it to the AI, artificial intelligence. So tools, why tools have been introduced, or the concept of tools. Say there are at least 15 tools, at least 15 tools that are used in APIs. So what they are known as an API tool. For example, there is Apache. You can, yeah, and there are many other tools also. So those tools are, so basically those tools are uh, used to reduce the complexity of a developer. So being a developer, you always have this tendency to reduce your complexity of the code. That is the reason we have been the real time developer has been compared to the AI tool, the chat GPT, the dev software, and etc. So these tools were introduced to reduce the complexity of an API codes. So because API codes are very complex, complexual when we write an API code, when it gives a little bit of discrepancy when we debug the codes. So while using this code, you can easily debug, or you can debug an API code. So there are, as I already said, there are at least 15 API tools that in the next presentation I will try to conclude those 15 tools, because otherwise this will be the presentation will be taking the more time. So uh, I do not want that the time should get exceeded. So there are 15 tools I will be explaining in the performance of those tools. So the basically the concept of tools is to reduce the complexity in a simple language, and debug the code where it has been required. And the this is the use case of a tool. For example, if the code of an API has been provided to you, you can easily debug the code with the help of these API tools. So this was what the practical implementation did by me when I was preparing the presentation. Actually, what happens? This whole thing is telling you about how you are fetching the uh, fetching the responses from the server. Or so when we you, so when we uh, create a fake API, when we create a fake API, so you can even do it to your on your PCs. going towards www.google.com and inspecting with the help of networks. Actually, the most important thing here is Git and Git Bash. So as Dransh was telling us about how to install the Git Bash and how to give the command. So that is the important thing. So going towards the Git.se, this is one website, Git.se. So there, while moving towards those, you can set up the environment of Git Bash in your system. After setting up that environment in your system, you can easily direct your PC to create an API code, or to create a real time API for helping the developers. So, but then also if you have if you have any kind of a problem, or if you have any kind of a, you can say that you do not want to move so deep, then also there is one, you can say, alternative, that REQBin is an online compiler. For example, we use a online compiler for Python and all those things. So there's one compiler also known as I recommend. You can I will be sharing you that compiler also after the presentation. So where there you can check the command line tools. For example, as in my presentation of in my slide of curl, I was telling you about that what curl is used for, that you and what is the importance of curl. So here I'm explaining you about the importance of curl. For example, if there is a compiler, there you are typing curl curl, and then you have to, then you print, and you want to print any command. See, there are various commands like it is known as, you can say, o is for output. So curl space o, if you are writing this and you are running your code, or while you can enter also from your enter button. So there it will be taking the responses of the network. So so it is taking the responses of the network, of fetching the responses of the network from the servers, and it is showing you that what kind of output you are fetching. So so all this directory has been implemented to create the fake API. So there are command like
Vedant,
cross
console is not visible.
dash.
Console is not
What?
visible. Console is not visible. Where we have to write the commands.
Actually, I'm showing the I'm just showing the that image. I'm not showing the compiler right now. See, there is one online compiler, iCuban. I can show you also. Okay, let me Google it. So this is the online compiler for testing APIs. So here you can write your custom, so in it is done more precisely in your systems and laptops. But so these are headers and rows and authorization provided. So even if you want to write an JS-1 application on HTML, XML languages, test custom, whatever you want to use, you can use this, you can use this accordance to your for example, accordance to your compatibility. HTML is one of the thing that is very slight, so you can use it here also. But so for example, you have to write any kind of any kind of command. We write curl, and then we give the command lines. There are command lines, for example, like verbatros. There are command lines, tools. There are certain command lines. For example, if you want the whole for fetching the basic responses. For example, there is a get. After get, there's output. So they, and you have to just curl curl, you have to write curl curl, and then you have to give a space and you write those commands. So there are a list of commands that has been used for different applications, for fetching different responses from the servers, for creating the fake APIs. Yeah, I will be even listing those commands also. You do not have to remember it, you just have to use according to your accordance, what kind of wherever you need them. So you're writing those commands. So it is also a part of a Git repository. So you have to you see URL curl, out gives the output, get it fetches the response from the servers, and Albatross, it's a kind of a very new command line. And even you have to sometimes provide dash dash for fetching, so this is the whole method you write for dash dash c command, and there are many other command lines also. So in my next presentation I will be trying to give that practical implementation also. So concluding up my presentation with some questions and answers. So what is curl? So curl is a command line tool I have discussed already. It's a command line tool. uh, it's a command line tool, but again, if someone is asking you that what is actually, or what a curl is, that, see, I already told you about that. Curl is C stands for client and U is for URL, uniform resource locator. But the curl here, but the curl but the curl here is, what is curl, or what is the benefit of curl, using a curl. So I have said the statement previously also, that it is just fetching the responses from the server. It is fetching the responses from the server even. So this is the benefit of using a curl. Okay. So for example, if there are different servers located, and I want to fetch that data from the server data. So I'm fetching the data. I can fetch the data from the server. So this is the benefit of using server. And what is libc url? So so it is the same thing. See, it is a library for curl. It's nothing is different over here. It is a library for curl. For example, if you are googling it curl over in the Google, you can get the most of the curl libraries, and that you can use it. And you can even you can curl. Yes, this is a curl library. It is an free and open source software. So it is helping thousands of developers for using and improvising their applications, improvising their uh, so there are 20 billion installations. So you can, it's a virtual kind of a open source software. So you can check the code of the from the GitHub also. So how do you use a curl? And it is providing you the whole library. So you can, it's a good site. You can visit it. Most of the developers visit this site also. So how is curl different from other platforms? Actually, the curl is different from other platforms. That I, as I defined the curl, that it is providing it is fetching that response from the servers. But other platforms like your HTTP, hypertext type protocols, other platforms like REST APIs or the Postman APIs, so REST APIs. What these things are doing, what these platforms are doing, they are see, for example, Postman. It is very it is graphical. It is using graphical user interface. This means it is a user friendly. Although curl is not using a GUI. So curl is not using a GUI. It is away from GUI. So graphical user interface. Talking about HTTP, hypertext type protocol, and even the REST APIs, they are so for example, REST API, it is deploying the whole response to the server. But it is fetching the response from the server. So the part of the REST API is to deploy. Deploy the database uh, to the global server. And hypertext type protocol is also doing the same thing. It is also using the GUIs. It is also deploying rather than fetching from a server. So this is the so the curl here has been differentiated over here. So this is the way the curl is differentiated over here. So who is the founder of curl? It is a very basic question. It can be asked frequently. It can be asked in question and answer that who is the founder of curl, because if we are studying about curl so deeply, so we should know about who is the founder of curl. So Sir Daniel Steinberg was the one who founded the curl. So, and one of the most interesting thing about the curl is that everyone you will be getting to know is that it has been implemented in the C language. It has been implemented in the C language. Again, I'm repeating my words that it has been implemented in the C language is one of the most interesting thing. Uh, Founded by Sir Daniel Steinberg. The last question of this, the whole of the slide is, what function can be used to resume a transfer using curl? So there is a command line. Again, you have to use the your get bash. So here you write curl curl and give some space, then hyphen sign has been there, and that will be implemented with using C. But just providing that C option or the C word, it completes the whole statement, and your function can be resumed from transferring the data. So I have concluded I have completed my whole presentation. So if you have any question and answers, I will be glad to answer those questions.
Vedant,
If you
in
have any
next
doubt or
presentation,
query.
you have to use our implementation using the command line or the medium.
Yes, so yes, that was the part I was wanted to record a video, but some technical errors. It was it was not been recorded, but in this presentation I will try to do all these things.
Yes, yes. You don't have to
Any
record
other
it.
question?
You implement directly by screen sharing, like I today implemented my commands of GitHub.
Maybe I'll be doing that thing in the next presentations. I will be remembering this thing.
Okay, okay. I will stop recording and
Is my screen visible to everyone?
yes, you can continue.
Yeah, so I have explained about the history why the developers have created JavaScript. I hope everybody has got that point. Now I've also tried to explain you the features of the JavaScript. I've explained all the features, and also one of the main features that I've highlighted was like before 2008 it was interpreted, and after it was interpreted after 2008 because of the Chrome browser and V8 engine. It is now compiled just in one time. Now these are the variables and data types that we are given in the Java to store various values. For example, in the primitive data types, we have number, string, boolean, null, and undefined. And in the composite, or we can say the non-primitive data types or the object data types, we have object and arrays. These are variables and data types. And next, more interesting or most confusing thing is var, let, and const. Most of us are familiar with the const, like it is used for assigning the values that are going to be constant throughout the execution of the program. For example, if we assign a user ID to various clients in any particular project, the constant we can use for that, because that will be the only thing that will distinguish a particular person from other. And then we talk about var and let. So var and let are a little bit of confusing, but let's let is used when we are using a variable within a block. We can say that it is scoped to be bound between the two blocks itself, whereas variable is a function scope and it can be redeclared and reassigned. So before 2015, var was used, and the problem with the var was that once you created a var variable, you can re-declare that variable. You can re-declare that same variable, and you can reassign that value to it again and again. So if there is a large project, if you change some value at one point, it might change at all other places also. So that can affect the overall project. That is why we in after 2015, let was introduced, and it was meant to bound between the blocks. And the main thing that I was writing was the hoisting was the problem. So hoisting is a term that is used, that was the problem with the var variable. Hoisting is something like within the block, if we declare a variable, okay, let me show you this because the, right to console.log, console.log, if I, if I say, now if I hit the enter, now it comes undefined. Showing you the main thing, like why let and where was introduced and what was the problem with that. Let's try to print. Let's try to print this console.log. I'm trying to print a variable that is named as a. I haven't declared it before, but let's say I'm declaring it with a var. Let's say var a is equals to 9. Let's say it is a 90. So when I hit a enter button, you can see, okay, it is coming off the previous one. Let me clear. Yeah, so if I try to print, now you can see like I am declaring a variable after I have already set to the JavaScript compiler to print a. Now I am declaring with the var a is equals to let's say 89. Now when I will hit the enter button, you can see it is giving me undefined value. So this is something that we have seen with the var. Now let's try to do this with the with the var. We have seen that we are declaring it after and the console is giving me undefined. Now if we try to do this with the var variable, let's try to see what does it give to us. If I say console.log variable a, okay, now I'm declaring with the let's say let a is equals to 76. Now when I will hit the enter button, you can see there is an error. With the let button, with the usage of let, we are getting an error like reference error. It is not defined. But with the var variable, we were getting, okay, it is undefined, but we were getting no error. So that error was little difficult for the developers to catch. That is why let was introduced. The word that I was explaining you behind this was the hoisting. So what the hoisting means is like within the scope where we are uh, using that, within the scope where we are using let or var variables, they are assigned at the top itself, and all the things are all the other code will come after that. So that is why we were getting var, we are getting no error in var, and I hope everybody is clear with this. Next one is null and undefined. This That was also one of the interesting thing to talk about. What is the difference between null and undefined? So null simply means we have intentionally given this value to nothing. That is what we call as a null. And undefined is something that we haven't even bothered to give it any value, or we haven't even thought of giving any value to it. I take an example for this. Let's take, we have a server and we try to fetch a temperature from that server. So if for any reason the server is not able to function properly and is not in a position to send any particular value at that point in time, so if the developer try to send a value, let's say null value or null value, that means simply if they try to say zero value or whatever, so that might interpret it in the front end side like the temperature is zero. But undefined is something that really saves us from those situations. Undefined simply means that that value has not been defined, whereas null means like the what I was saying, that the developer have intentionally given the value null. That was the thing. And undefined means that the user hasn't responded with that. And there comes the 5 questions which you can look at to get little basic understanding of the JavaScript. Like what is the NaN function? What is the function of not a number
The
function? And then
screen is
triple.
not visible. You can switch this screen to your presentation part.
Okay, is it visible now?
No,
Hello, is it visible now? No.
no visible. Actually, you
Okay,
can again share opening your presentation after opening your presentation.
is it visible to you now?
No, yaar, it's not visible in my screen.
Actually, it is visible, but the console that part is coming, so it is visible.
Only it is questions are not visible.
Okay, let me try to fix this. Still, console is visible to everyone. Huh?
Yes, console is only visible. This time you will try to open your presentation and then screen share. Because the whole screen, you can't share anything. Yes.
Now I think it is visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Is it visible now?
Yes.
Yeah, so I would just like to end this presentation with these 5 questions. These are interesting enough to bother about them. So the first one was the NaN, not a number. What is this not a number? Why was it introduced and what was the purpose? You can search out or I will tell you after in the next one. Then what is the double equal to and triple equal to operator? Why was triple equal to operator was introduced? And undefined value in JavaScript, I have already mentioned in the PPT. And what are the JavaScript cookies? I will talk about them in the upcoming presentations. And the difference between the JavaScript and JScript. So I think I should tell you this thing. This is a little interesting. Like what is JavaScript and what is this JScript? Anyone have any idea like why do we say JavaScript and JavaScript and JScript? Okay, so let me tell you, like JavaScript was something that was developed by one of the browser that was named as Nets Cafe Navigator, and JScript was developed by hello.
Yes. Continue.
I think I have forgotten the name. I will tell you next time. So that was my questions. And with this, I come to the end of my presentation. If you have any question, feel free to ask. Thank you.
Getting the triple equal to is basically a data type must be same.
So triple equal to. Okay, can you repeat your answer?
A data type must be same.
Okay. With the two equals to, there is not a very strict checking.
Of data types.
Like if you
It
say,
only check only
yeah,
content.
if you say string 27 equal to 27, so will it return true for double equal to and will return false for triple equal to?
It will return false for triple equal to.
Okay, and what about double equal to?
It I am not correct. I'm
Yeah, so I'm telling you, like, double equal to is used when, like, we are not bothered about data types. You have mentioned it exactly. Like, we are not checking it very strictly. We are just checking the values. Like, if we have a string 27 and we are saying equal to 27, it will return true. But when we use triple equal to, it will also check the data type. So in that case, it will return false. You
actually
was
this
right about
question
that.
is asked in my class from my web stack teacher, and I will answer it.
So you answered that correctly at that point.
I don't think, but they says that it is correct.
I hope now. I think I have answered your question.
Okay, okay. So you will take over it to Vedant. Vedant, you will continue.
So the recording has been started. So shall I continue my presentation?
Actually, I will create a new meeting so that Vedant, you can thoroughly explain in one meeting all your presentation part. We can't
Okay.
do that separately. I will just create it.
So I'm okay. Okay. So I'm leaving it. So I'm joining with the new link.